don't know what to talk about really. Today's Monday. Let's see. I'm headed towards Utah Lake right now. I'm gonna go for a run out there since it's pretty close. Pretty close to where I work. I'm gonna try to get in 3 or 4 miles. I've got a Ragnar race coming up this week on Friday and Saturday. So I'm not gonna go too crazy. I also don't really know exactly if I'm going the right way. But like I said, I've got a Ragnar coming up this week on Friday and Saturday. It's a trail race out in Zion National Park. First time I've ever done a Ragnar. First time I've ever done it's the first time I'm going to do a Ragnar in my life. I've always wanted to do one. I didn't know they had trail races. So a lot of my runs recently have been trail runs. And I do enjoy trail runs, I think. They're very enjoyable. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes because it's a total of 15 miles over 3 legs. And the longest I've run up to this point is 6 miles. I only really had like 5 weeks to prepare for it because it's sponsored by my work, which is awesome. I don't have to pay for, the race fees or anything like that. But the reason that it's so late, or not so late, but the reason I have so little preparation is because originally they had other people that were supposed to be running, and then those people either had prior commitments so they couldn't make it anymore, or they got injured for their training. So the longest leg I think is like 7.5 miles, and the most I've done is 6. But I've done some pretty intense climbs. Like on Saturday, I ran 5 miles, but the vertical gain on that run was all in the first half of the run. I gained like 1,600 feet in elevation. It's crazy. So if I can get through that, I'm sure I will be perfectly fine on what's it called? On the Ragnar trails. Because I think the long leg only has like 700 feet of elevation gain. And compared to the trail run I did at 1,500 feet at gain of elevation, it's pretty crazy. And then I also ran the Y Trail in Provo, which is like 1 mile, 1.2 miles, something like that, but it's also like 1,200 feet elevation gain. So as far as handling the uphills, I think I will be fine. I think I came the wrong way, so I'm gonna turn around. Yeah, I low-key don't know where I'm driving to. I came here with my friend one time. Anyway, yeah, I have that race coming up, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's the first race that I will have done in almost 10 years, which is a little bit nerve-inducing. Like I woke up and I realized it was this week, and I was a little nervous about that. But I'm excited. I've never been to Zion's National Park either, so that'll be a good experience. I need to make sure I'm prepared. I need to find my headlamp. I need to make sure I've got all the stuff that I need to take. I've got some sick trail running shoes. Shout out to my wife buying me the trail running shoes on our anniversary. I got the La Sportiva Prodigio Pros, which are honestly way nicer than I need. but I have them, and I have been using them on all my trail runs, and they're very comfortable. They feel really nice. Found a high school. Can I go around this car? Yeah, I kind of have to go around them because they're just stopped in the middle of the road talking on the phone. Unlike me, I'm not talking on the phone. I'm talking to myself while I'm recording on the phone. There's a difference. And also, I'm not stopped in the road blocking traffic. And I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at the road while I record myself. Anyway, as I was saying, this is my first race that I will be running in, I think, almost 10 years. The last race that I ever ran was in 2016, the state cross-country meet for Idaho, 2016. That was my last race I ever ran. I didn't get to do my final track season because I got in a snowmobile accident, so that ruined track for me. I wish I could go back and be smarter. Like, obviously it was an accident. I wasn't being intentionally reckless or anything. I wish I could go back and, give myself a little bit of advice. Say, hey, take it a little easier. This might be where I'm wanting to go. I don't even have my air conditioning turned on. I'm excited for the race though. I love racing. After this race, I'm gonna do a little bit of a mileage build up, I think, probably 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm gonna get to running 5 days a week to build up to about 25 miles a week if I can. Because in these past 5 weeks preparing for the Ragnar, I've only really gone up to 15 miles in a week. That was over 3 runs. So if I can get 5 runs and get up to 25 miles, that'll be a pretty good base to build off from there, especially for where I'm at right now. Trying to lose weight. Losing weight is so hard and long and boring, dude. I wish losing weight wasn't so hard. I wish I also hadn't gained all the weight that I did. Last year in September, I think, was probably the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I was 185, which is not, it's not a crazy weight, but it's not healthy. It's not a healthy weight for me. It wasn't a comfortable weight. And I also just did not feel good about myself at that weight. But since September, I'm now down to 167, shooting for 140. Because in high school, I was 125. But, I'm older now. My body's grown and changed and blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is where I want to be either. Oh, man, I'm going to have to look up on maps. I'm just gonna turn around here if I can. Yeah, I have no idea where I am. Anyway, I was saying, in high school I was 125 or around there. Yeah, I don't know how I got here. I was around 125. I just keep repeating myself. In high school I was 125, and I think I was actually shorter. I'm 5'8" now. I don't think I was 5'8" in my senior year of high school. I think I managed to get an extra inch before I before I stopped growing. So when I got married, I was around 135, 140, and that was a pretty nice weight to be at. I felt pretty comfortable there. And especially, like I said, I'm older, and you get older and your body just changes, and it's normal to be a little heavier. It's like the teenager versus the adult that I am now. My bone structure is different as far as like density and everything. At least that's what I've heard. That's what I've been told. That's what I've read. So 135, 140, that's the weight that I'm shooting for. I'm probably gonna go for 140. The biggest thing is when I was 185, I would bend over to tie my shoes, and I would get short of breath, which is ridiculous. Oh! I found where I want to be. I just passed the turn. There we go. Yeah. 185, bending over to tie my shoes, sitting down to tie my shoes, anything like that. Making the fact that like I would be short of breath, that made it hard to breathe. That's a big motivating factor for me wanting to lose weight. So I've got about 27 pounds to go. I'm actually gonna be a little more serious about it. How is this parking supposed to work, dog? I don't understand. I almost just blocked somebody in because I can't figure it out. I've been here one time. Okay, we're here for the run. But yeah, I don't want to not be able to breathe when I bend over to tie my shoes. And I don't want my belly to be sticking out to the point where I use it as a hand rest, which I did. And, you know, I'm taking it a little more seriously. I'm working on staying in a deficit. A big thing for me that helps staying in a deficit is actually exercising. Because if I wasn't exercising, I'd be stuck at about 1,600 calories a day. Exercising, doing my runs and everything else, I get to, you know, depending on how long I run or do my other exercises, I'm at about a 22 to 2,400 calorie budget to stay in that deficit, which is nice. And it's been working. Like, I didn't really seriously start trying to lose weight until probably 2 months ago, month and a half at the earliest, or at the latest, I don't know. But like, it's probably about 2 months ago when I took it seriously, and I was at 175, gone from 175 down to 167, so it's working pretty well. I'm hoping by the summer I'll be in the 150s, and I can, I'm gonna, like I said, I was gonna do a little mileage building block, I guess is what you call it, a little mileage buildup. And then after that, I'm gonna work towards, you know, getting my 5K time under 20 minutes. Because I used to run 1740. That was my PR, right? I've done that before. So getting under 20 minutes should be pretty easy once I'm at a reasonable weight. I think 150 is a pretty reasonable weight. Because under 20 is like 6:45 per mile, which is honestly not that fast. In my, like for me, so I've run sub 5. I remember doing mile repeats and I would come in around 5:15, 5:20, which says that I should be, you know, way faster than it was. I was just very bad at pacing. And I probably didn't have a very good aerobic base. So I'm going to build up my aerobic base. I'm going to get some 5K training in, get speedy again. Hopefully I go sub 20, 5K sometime during the summer, like July or August. Then I'm going to do, what I want to do is either a 10K or a half marathon training block. Because I want to run under 130. Like ideally, 120 would be awesome, but under 130 in a half marathon. Now, eventually, sometime this year, hopefully I'll be up to about 60 miles a week. That's my goal. And then once I get to 60 miles a week, I'll probably stay there for a pretty consistent amount of time. You know, especially with winter coming, because it's going to suck in the winter time. I'm going to have to push myself to get out there, but I'll do it. Anyway, time for the run.